Hello! Do you feel the same way? Remote access to remote machines and systems is not always easy. Machines are integrated into company networks to which external users should not have access. If such a machine is to be maintained remotely, this can only be done via a secure connection. In the next few minutes, I will show you how easy secure remote access can be. I use SINEMA Remote Connect, our management platform for VPN connections. SINEMA Remote Connect is a server application. It manages VPN tunnel connections and access rights between the control center, the service technicians, and the installed machines or plants. Communication between the participants is protocol independent and IP-based. The remote machine and the service technician establish a connection to a SINEMA Remote Connect server, independent from each other. There, the participants are identified via certificates, and only then the connection is possible. I will now show you how quickly and easily you can configure and commission the SINEMA Remote Connect server in a virtual machine. Let's now start with the installation of the SINEMA Remote Connect server. I use a PC with internet connection. I insert the CD with the SINEMA Remote Connect server. Then I create a virtual machine, VM for short. In the virtual machine wizard, I select Install from disk. The virtual machine is created with all information from the image on the CD, for example operating system and SINEMA Remote Connect software. Alternatively, you can boot directly from the CD. Then the operating system, including SINEMA Remote Connect, will be installed directly on the PC. Please note that in this case, the hard drive of your PC will be overwritten with the new operating system. For my VM, I choose Linux with the version Ubuntu 64-bit as operating system. I assign the name of the virtual machine SINEMA RC Tutorial VM. Now I can specify the storage location of the VM. Then I specify the size of the virtual hard drive of the VM. The size should be at least 60 GB. Now the virtual machine is created. Now I have to set the memory in my new VM. I open the virtual machine settings and select 2 GB. This is the minimum I recommend. I change the network adapter to bridged. This allows the SINEMA Remote Connect VM to use the existing network interface with internet access. Now I start the virtual machine and configure the SINEMA Remote Connect server. Next, I select Install SINEMA Remote Connect server. I confirm the terms and conditions, select single tenant and the network interface. Now I assign the static IP address for the SINEMA Remote Connect server, the network mask and the gateway address. You can get this information from your network administrator. The server is now successfully installed and initialized. I click OK and the system reboots. I can now access the web-based management of the SINEMA Remote Connect server via a browser using the IP address displayed. I start the browser and open my IP address. Many browsers display a message at this point that the connection is not secure. But you can still continue with this process step. The message disappears as soon as the server certificates are loaded in the browser. However, this is optional and has no effect on the functionality. You can find information about the settings in the manual. After a new installation, it is necessary to log in once with the username admin and the password admin. For security reasons, you must then create a new user with a new secure password. Please use upper and lowercase, special characters and numbers for a secure password. The next step is to transfer the date and time from the PC to the SINEMA Remote Connect server. Later, you should also enter an NTP server. A correct time setting for the clients and the server is very important, because the generated certificates are valid for a limited time. In the next step, I can check the network settings I have already made. Since the server is connected to the internet via a fixed router, the external WAN IP address must be entered here, via which the router can be reached from the internet. In the next step, you can enter a DNS host name. The SINEMA Remote Connect server can then be reached via this name using name resolution, for example if the IP address of the server is not a static address. You usually get the name from your IT administrator. For my project, I use sinemarcserver.dyndns.org. A primary DNS server must be entered to activate the licenses. This you can also get from your IT administrator, or you can use a public DNS server. Now you have to set the port settings. The port for HTTPS access to the server website and the fallback port for the certificates are suggested by default. To establish the VPN tunnel, both the UDP or TCP port can be used. All ports can also be changed. Please clarify with your admin whether the ports are still available in your company. In order for the server to be accessible externally via the internet, you must have your administrator activate the corresponding port forwarding in the router. Now the web-based management of the SINEMA Remote Connect server can be accessed via the internet, using a public IP address or optional DNS name. This completes the configuration of the SINEMA Remote Connect server. You can see how fast and easy it is to install and configure the SINEMA Remote Connect server in a virtual machine. You can now use the system on this basis. For example, you can add devices and clients and set up your remote connections.
Siemens. Ingenuity for life.